Good Monday morning to you. Psalms 19 is something I used to hear on Sunday mornings at a small church I attended. It says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my God and my Redeemer." You know, last week I wrote a Bible study that I presented to two different groups, and that was titled, "Love Within the Church is Not Conditional." I've just found that sometimes within the church walls, Christians justify that it's okay to say mean things to others. Last week I talked about our responsibilities from pastors down to lay people. We should be able to be imitated by others. This Saturday morning I woke up to the news that a friend's dad had passed away. In fact, this is the third time a friend's dad has passed away in less than a month. As I scrolled through the Facebook posts, each of these friends, there were countless posts about their dads that exemplified what great men they were by how they carried themselves and helped other people. When you look at Ephesians 4:29, it says, "Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for the edification according to the need of the moment, so that it will give grace to those who hear." But only such words is where we start on this in the middle of the scripture, where it says such words for edification. So let's stop there. Edification simply means to uplift or to enlighten or to inform. Then it says for the need of the moment. At work I set goals, and one of my goals is to always try to be to where I know that the room that I'm in or the place that I'm at, that what my responsibility is there. For me, this simply means being aware of what's going on in my presence and identifying what I should be doing, and is that just being quiet, or is there something that I can offer in that situation? Finally, the verse ends with, "so that it will give grace to those who hear it." So what should I hear when I read those verses? And this is what I hear. Michael, don't say something that's not gratifying or pleasing to God. Michael, you need to be making sure that you're saying something that is uplifting, and don't say something that has no place in that moment. And Michael, your words need to show grace and love to those you're speaking to. Countless times in the New Testament, the church has had to be reminded of the need to be, building up and encouraging one another. The first verse that probably everybody will think of is 1 Thessalonians 5:11. "Therefore encourage one another and build up one another just as you are doing." Then in Romans 4:19 it says, "So then we pursue the things which make for peace and the building up of one another." Hebrews 3:13, "But encourage one another day after day, as long as it is still called today, so that none of you will be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin." Have you ever watched a coach that's really patient? He's a real good coach. They'll share with their athlete, the things that they did wrong, but they'll build them up by telling them what they're doing right, and they build off of it. They'll repeat that process over and over and over until they have it and the athlete gets it. On the other hand, a bad coach will quickly write off somebody and throw them to the side if they don't get it right the first time. Thank goodness we serve a God that doesn't write us off when we make a mistake. I love the story of Jesus and the woman at the well. He knew everything about her, but he wasn't fazed by her sin. We find in that story the disciples return, and what did they say? John 4:27 says, "Just then his disciples returned and were surprised to find him talking with a woman. But no one asked," once again, "but no one asked, 'What do you want?' or 'Why are you talking with her?'" Go back to Ephesians 4:29. "Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification according to the need of the moment, so that it'll give grace to those who hear." Don't you think maybe the disciples got back and they recognized that it wasn't the time for them to be asking questions or making comments? This is my challenge for myself this week and each of you. Claim Ephesians 4:29 and make it your prayer that no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification according to the need of the moment, so that we'll give grace to those who hear. Also, I want you to pray that God gives you situations where you can implement it. I hope each of you has a great week this week, and I'll see you next Monday morning on Monday Mornings with Michael.